catch a glimpse of their father taking his last breath, it's torture to think of. Why did Eric lose his life? Why did the boys lose their father? Was it because of Kouri's greed and desire to get life insurance and other assets? If so, that is abhorrent. How could anyone value human life so cheaply? I cannot comprehend it. I'm overflowing with grief and pain at the thought that Eric meant so little to her. If Eric had died because of an illness, he would have been cared for. He could have looked after him and been with him. If he had died because of an accident, people would have tried to help. There would have been kindness. But there's no comfort to be had here. There's no consoling thought in the way Eric died. In his last moments, after being intentionally poisoned, he was faced with betrayal and terror. The thought of it is unbearable. I am haunted by the horror of it. This last year has been a living hell for our family. We have watched as Kouri has paraded around portraying herself as a living widow and victim while trying to profit from the death of my brother. Both by trying to profit from a book about his death and trying to get life insurance and assets that should go exactly where Eric wanted them to his boys.
So this is the story of Kouri and Eric Richins. Eric is dead. He died from fentanyl poisoning. Prosecutors say it was his wife who got the drugs and then laced his drink with it and killed him, murdered him for money, all about money. So I want to give you a little background about this couple. Now, he was very successful, had a stone masonry company with a partner and did really well. When he met her, she was working at Home Depot. Once they got married, they started a family. She started a business. She wanted to get into real estate, flipping houses, you know, like they do on HGTV, and was going to try to, you know, make her mark and in that. But apparently, business wasn't great, according to prosecutors, and he was no longer going to prop up her business with his money, and he allegedly caught her trying to get her hands on some of his money. And what he did is he created a trust and suspected his wife was perhaps trying to take his life and left everything to his sister. And that was the sister that you heard coming into the segment at the bond hearing for her. So there's a lawsuit by her now because she's trying to get her hands on all of the money that was left and the assets that were left after Eric died. But she's in charge of the estate. So there's this big battle going on. And now, after she sued the estate has now counterclaimed and sued her. Take a look, some of the allegations here. The Richins estate versus Kouri Richins. They allege that starting as early as 2016 and perhaps earlier, Kouri began having serious financial troubles. Kouri was taking money from Eric's bank accounts and running up debts on credit cards in Eric's name and without Eric's knowledge. As of February of 2022, Kouri or her business owed at least $1.8 million to hard money lenders, and in the days prior to Eric's death, she had at least 7 phone calls with one or more of those lenders. Eric confronted Kouri about the stolen money, and Kouri admitted she had taken the money. So now there's these cross claims going back and forth, but meanwhile, we've got a murder case. So how does all of this play into that? Because Kouri Richins, on the one hand, saying, hey, I'm entitled to this money. I'm entitled to the estate. And her sister saying, no, you don't get that. And by the way, you owe the estate money because you were stealing money from him when he was alive. Let's bring back in the think tank. Daryl Cohen, Molly Palmer, Josh Schiffer with us. Josh, you look like you want a piece of this one. This is horrific, right?
I've been warning people about the dangers of marriage for years. It is absolutely impossible to be a victim of a spousal murder if you remain dedicated and single. No, all kidding aside, this is a nightmare. This is betrayal upon betrayal upon betrayal, but in a weird way, it helps her criminal defense because this civil case muddies the water and shows how this family, this wasn't the first conflict between Sis and Kouri. You're gonna be able to mine, as a successful defense attorney, a story of a family.
So wait, you're saying
conflict.
that this fight between the sister and the estate and Kouri is gonna somehow help her. The sister is an important witness in the case, by the way.
It feeds into a defense.
I mean, the sister is going to be a witness for the state. And so, yes, you can certainly go down this line of cross-examination and show how she was, you know, she had hatred for Kouri or something along those lines. But personally, I don't like the optics. If my client is on trial for murder, I would not like any collateral evidence of her suing her late husband's estate, trying to get some portion of the money. I think that that is basically a motive.
Well, should the jury hear about all this? Will they?
I think they're going to hear a lot of it, that some of it may be excluded, but the optics are bad. And where did he get the fentanyl? Did he go buy it? Was he a drug addict? Did he do this on his own? How did his wife get him the fentanyl? And that's something the prosecution's going to have to show.
Well, they've got the witness, you know, but not the greatest witness, you know, someone that worked for Kouri who has other legal issues is going to be the one saying, yeah, she asked me for the fentanyl and I got it. They're going to allege that perhaps it was laced in a Moscow mule that she fixed for him.
Stay away from Putin. Stay away from Putin.
Yeah. So
The issue is that it's a classic American story, but you can spin her position so many different ways. And by adding this, I totally agree with what
now, when you
Molly's
say
talking about.
spin, does that mean like mislead the jury?
No, it
No,
means
just a little spin.
tell a version of the story. If you have a complaint about spin, let's go talk to all your government buddies in the prosecutor's office. They're the ones out there putting news stories out in order to set a narrative before the defense even has a chance to get their act together. That's spin. That's manipulation. What we've got is a woman who one day found herself without a husband due to his death by some sort of poisoning, and she's involved as the accused. And now she has to protect herself, her own best interests, and she's trying her best. There's a lot of hay that can be grown on their relationship dynamic in the family, the unequal finances, the hard money loans. There's a lot to talk about. Every time you talk, you're adding the opportunity for reasonable doubt to grow.
I disagree. I think that you've got a motive. How much money from her husband did she steal? How much money was she trying to steal? And oops, you got caught. I didn't mean to get caught. Honey, you got to go. You want a drink? Call Putin.
Okay, Daryl. Here's the thing. I think this is one of those cases where you have to be very careful in jury selection, right? We're Salt Lake City. Could you find jurors that are not going to be so put off by the fact that she is litigating the estate while at the same time she's accused of murder? You might be able to put together a panel of 12 who say, look, in the face of such tragedy, we still have to deal with the finances. And then you spin it, as Josh referenced, and you focus on the other evidence and the fact that potentially he did poison himself and there's not enough evidence as to the actual murder and all of that. But the finances are certainly going to have to be dealt with in an artful way. And some of that...
it's central to the entire case because the motive here, the alleged motive is the money, that she needed the money. And it was the only way she was going to get it, is by killing him. And now she doesn't have the money and she files the lawsuit. So it's almost like the lawsuit is part of the motive.
Well, it was the motive that they decided at the beginning. Remember, there can be new motives brought up. For all we know, they're going to claim some sort of violent confrontation over the theft, the catching her. There's a whole story that can be written there that can then point an investigation in a completely other direction.
All toward her.
And the bottom line, though, you believe the jury will hear about this little battle here and these
Absolutely.
allegations going back and forth.
Yeah, part of it,
Absolutely.
right.
It's intertwined. They have no choice. It's
And we'll
part of the
continue
case.
to track it, obviously.